Concealer time. Foundation is on. Your brows are done. Foundation is on. Okay. Now let's fake 8 hours of sleep, even if we only got 3. Yeah. Let's do that. So we're gonna go into the concealer. Now, if you have trouble with your concealer as it relates to cakiness, child, follow this. Follow this concealer placement and you'll have no issues. Okay? Absolutely no issues, I promise you. So first things first, we figure out the concealer that we're gonna wear. It's gonna be the Too Faced concealer. Okay, depending on your concealer, some concealer might set faster than others. Be mindful of that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take my concealer brush. The brush that I'm gonna be using is the same brush I used to cover out my brows. It's from Wet n Wild. It's a large concealer brush. I love using it because it's large. It does what it needs to do every single time. So I'm gonna take this concealer and we're gonna do some placement now. All right, so I'm gonna put the concealer all the areas where it needs to go. So I take my brush with the concealer and I just put a dot right there. Okay, 1 dot. Same on the other side, 1 dot. That's actually more than enough. Then we go on the nose. Okay, once we get up here, we start to expand it. Just like that. Okay, expand. Don't be shy right there. Once you get right in the middle here. Once you get to the brow, on the starting of the brow, add some of your concealer. Okay, now if you realize I just did a cut, I cut a bit on my brows, I'll fix that. Add the concealer to the starting of the brow. I just did cut the brows again. I did, but I'm gonna fix that. All right, then you take the product, top of your lip like this. All right, and then I take some and I apply here and here. This is my placement. So once I've placed the concealer on, let me just, while I'm here, clean this up some more. I'm just fixing, guys. I'm just fixing. Once I'm done, I will use my product to sort it out. My brushes. All right, and then we add the concealer right to the top of the brow like this. All right, now usually I don't put concealer on the end, just the starting, but I made an error. Oh no, I made an error just now, and that's the beauty of makeup. Once you make an error, you can fix it. Don't overthink the makeup. Once you make the error, you can fix it. All right, you have your tools, you have your products. Don't you worry about that. You can fix it. All right, so once I place the concealer on my face, I grab a setting spray. I'm gonna use the NYX face glue and I spray my face now. So when I spray my face, okay, and I take my fan and I let that set. Now, the reason why your concealer is caking is because as soon as you put the concealer on, you start to blend. Okay, now the concealer is made in a way that once it hits the skin, it stays wet. It has that wetness. Okay, so you have to give the concealer time to set before you actually start to move the concealer around. Because if you start to move the concealer around right away, it starts to fit in your groove, the grooves in your skin, the cracks in your skin, and it settles there and it stays wet. So then when you go on ahead and you start to add your powder, okay, wet and dry, mixed together will make a paste. Okay? Think of baking. You need wet ingredients and you need dry ingredients to make the paste for a cake. That's exactly what's happening on your face. Let the concealer set a little before you blend. Okay? Give your concealer between 1 to 3 minutes before you start to blend it. Otherwise, you will always have a cakey situation under your eye. Okay? That is why your concealer is caking. That is it. That is it. That is all. Okay? Leave the concealer alone. Get a fan. Use the fan if you want it to set a little faster. Okay? Do not, under no circumstances, put the concealer on. You literally just put it on and you go blending. Recipe for cake. Recipe for cake. Wet and dry. Bam. Cake. Boom. Alright? And do not put a pound of powder under your eye. That too causes the cakiness. Alright? Less is more. Now, depending on your concealer, some concealers, as I said, dries faster than others. Some of them dries really faster, so you have to work faster. So depending on the concealer that you have, you might have to work a little faster with that particular concealer. Okay? But all in all, that is why your concealer creases and it separates and you get the cake. That's why. Now the same brush you use to apply the dot under your eye, take that brush. Now we actually going for precision. Alright? So take the brush, place it in the concealer, and drag it down your nose like this. Just like that. Alright? Once you've done that, tapping motions, connect these two pieces right there, and continue to tap. Okay? You should be left with this right there. You see that? That's what you should have. Okay, that's what you should be left with. At this point, you get your small blending brush. I use 2 brushes to blend under my eye. I use a small brush, okay, number 402 from Real Techniques, and I also use number 206. So 402, it's 206, right? And 206, but tonight I'm going to be using the Morphe. So the 402 and the Morphe brush. Because my my 206 is in a situation. This is a 206. I didn't want, you see, it has pink on it. That means I used something else in it. But anyways, moving right along, these are the 2 I would recommend. Also the Morphe one will do what it needs to do for you as well. So this is the Morphe one, number 154. Okay, so these 2 are the ones I'm going to be using. So the first place that I tackle when I have my concealer on is the harsh line right there. We do not want that. So back and forth, soft tapping motions, you tackle that area. Alright? Now remember, you do not have to apply any pressure. The brush, the bristles on the brush, this is why I always recommend the Real Techniques. For blending, Real Techniques will always save you. Tap, it disappears. No more harsh line. Now the same soft back and forth tapping motion, you do it under the eye. Do not, under no circumstances, drag the concealer. Okay? Because you want it to do what? Conceal. If you drag the product, do you think it's going to conceal? It's not going to conceal. Because you're dragging the product away. It's not going to do it. You need it to blend. Alright, so this is what it looks like. Alright, then I grab my bigger brush, the blending brush, and I go over the same areas that I just blended. That way it gives me a nice soft, smooth, filtered finish. Alright, and you could just see it right there happening. Okay, tell me this is not blended. Tell me this is not blended. Alright, now if I want to brighten under my eye, I would just go with a lighter, 1 dot of a little lighter concealer, and I will just blend it to brighten under my eye. All right, so once I've done that, I grab my foundation brush. Okay, if I have any harsh line, as in the cutoff where the concealer is, I usually take my foundation brush and I use it as an eraser. That way any harshness right there, it will smooth it out for me, and I will just have a transition of colors just marrying into each other. No stress, no craziness, just blended nicely and evenly. Okay, so when it's time to put your powder, you have no issues. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. Same thing. All right, the area where you just put the dot, you put the dot to have time set a little bit. All right, take your brush, take your brush and just drag the concealer down the nose like this. Okay, this is your placement, all right, of your product. Then you tap to connect these two pieces. Continue tapping the product down here like so, into here, and this is what you should be left with. Okay, this is what you should be left with when you just tap the product there. Take your small brush, okay, I'm just wiping off any excess product I have on there because I just used it here. Take your small brush and start with the nose. We're softening the area right there on the nose. Soft back and forth tapping motions. Okay, soft back and forth tapping motions. Tap tap tap. Same thing under the eye. Back and forth tapping. No dragging, tapping, because you want it to conceal. If you drag, you're going to be dragging the product out of your skin. You want it to conceal. So soft tapping motions, back and forth, tap tap tap. The bristles on the brush will do what it needs to do, honey. Okay, get your big brush, big blending brush, go over the same areas that you just blended with the small brush to soften it up. Okay, soften it up very much so. That will ensure that you do not have any cakiness. To be nice and smooth on the eye. And that's how you blend the concealer, baby. That's how you do it. All right, now go over the same thing on your nose. I still use both brushes, the big one and the small one, on my nose as well. Okay, forehead area, get the product in there and you blend. All right, I go over with the big one as well to soften it. And this is how we blend our concealer with no chance or cake. All right, smoothly, softly blended into the skin. All right, and it looks like one face. Doesn't look like you have multiple faces. Even if you have different shades on your face, it just looks like one face. I'm just using the foundation brush to get a seamless blend with the two shades. All right, that's it. That's the foundation, that's the concealer. All right, you ready for anything now? Anything. But we're gonna go and add some contour. Okay, contour and bronzer. Now we're bringing back dimension. Okay, the dimension we just erased. What am I saying? Yes. So yeah, this is how you conceal. Okay, girls, practice, practice, practice. You got this. All right, always remember, practice. I know you got this. I know. I didn't know how to put makeup. All I did was practice. Okay, you got this.